Hi, this is Colin from the History Pilgrim. I hope you are enjoying my videos and would be interested to hear your comments. Be sure to like and share with a friend. How the Netherlands, being Europe's flattest country, led to the invention of capitalism. When you think of the Netherlands, what images come to mind? Chances are images of countless bikes, windmills, and tulip fields pop into your head. The Netherlands is Europe's lowest lying nation. It has both the flattest terrain and lowest high point of any nation in Europe, with a small hill barely over 900 feet being the highest natural point. More than one-third of the Netherlands is reclaimed land from the North Sea, which is below sea level. With the Netherlands being such a low-lying nation, the country constantly was being flooded in many areas. There is a Dutch saying that more men have died in the struggle against the sea than the struggle against man. The Dutch are the masters of keeping the water under control, with Dutch inventions such as windmills, dikes, and dams evidence of centuries of land reclamation. The most stereotypically Dutch landmark, the windmill, is the invention which led to the success of the Netherlands. With windmills, the spinning gears pulled water out of the low-lying marsh areas. A system of dikes and dams functioned to hold the water back or redirect it. A complex system of water control led to the Dutch creating canals in the 1600s. The canals led to a network of waterways which became the main trade arteries. The city of Amsterdam traces its name to the Amstel Dam, as it got its start as a trade center due to it being on a dam on the Amstel River. Many Dutch towns and cities grew with the canal system, with many Dutch towns and cities including Amsterdam almost exclusively built around canal traffic on boats. In the 1600s, the Netherlands entered the Dutch Golden Age. The Dutch East India Company controlled colonies all over the world, most notably the Spice Islands of Indonesia. Exotic spices from the other side of the planet were incredibly useful for flavoring the otherwise bland food available in Northern Europe during this era. With the Dutch controlling the global spice trade, Amsterdam became a major trade hub. Ships coming in from the North Sea needed somewhere to unload their goods. This led to another invention, the canal house. With the limited space and high water table, Amsterdam began to build these houses, which were narrow, tall structures which resembled milk cartons. This allowed many people to live along the canals while helping grow the Dutch economy. With the large attics, all of the canal houses doubled as warehouses. All of the houses were built with pulleys to hoist goods up into the spaces beneath the gabled roofs. The trade flowing through the city gave rise to the world's first stock exchange, which allowed the common Dutch citizens to purchase holds in trade ventures to acquire wealth. Around this time, Amsterdam quickly became a religious refuge in Europe. Rather than persecute religious minorities, the Dutch welcomed them with open arms. Jewish people from throughout Europe largely settled in Amsterdam and assisted in growing the Dutch economy. Catholics were allowed to practice their religion in a majority Protestant nation. Separatists from the Church of England who would later settle in the Plymouth Bay colony, who we now know as the Pilgrims, settled in the Dutch city of Leiden. During the Dutch Golden Age, art and science flourished. Painters such as Van Gogh painted artwork which ushered in a new art style. While in the rest of Europe, art celebrated the monarchy and the church, the Dutch masters simply painted everyday life in the Netherlands. The Dutch masters created paintings which were intended to decorate the canal houses, which featured Dutch traders and Dutch families. The investment by common Dutch citizens in their own economy led to the Netherlands quickly becoming Europe's wealthiest nation. An event which occurred in the early 1600s also highlights one downside of the free market. Tulip mania was when the prices of tulip bulbs skyrocketed to extraordinary levels, driven by speculative trading and a belief that the prices would continue to rise. Speculative buyers kept buying the bulbs like crazy, expecting to sell them at even higher prices, regardless of the value of the bulbs. Eventually, the bubble burst and the prices crashed. A good way to view the Dutch in the 1600s is as the merchants of the era, as the Dutch East India Company facilitated so much trade that no other company in world history has surpassed them in size. At one point, you could buy a canal house from simply selling a few pieces of peppercorn, which shows how valuable their trade imports were. The Dutch East India Company not only brought back exotic goods like vanilla, cinnamon, and tea, but also led to a wider understanding of the world. It was because of the Dutch that a settlement that would be named New Amsterdam, later renamed New York City after being captured by the British, would be founded at the mouth of the Hudson River. The Dutch did so much trade with the British that the English language became deeply ingrained in Dutch society for generations. This viewpoint on the English language led to the acceptance of English as the world's money language. Today, no other non-English speaking nation on earth has more fluent English speakers. You will find nearly everyone in Amsterdam will greet you in English over Dutch, and you might even hear radio broadcasts in English. When traveling to Amsterdam, be sure to check out the Rijksmuseum, which is known for famous paintings from the Dutch Golden Age, such as the Milkmaid and Rembrandt's Night Watch. The museum also contains exotic pottery and textiles from China, Japan, and Indonesia, highlighting the Dutch connection with the Far East. A must-try cuisine in Amsterdam is Indonesian food, as the Netherlands has a very strong immigrant community from its former colony, and you will find that eating rice toffel and satay is just as much an educational experience as any museum and learning about Dutch history. Indonesia was a Dutch colony into the 1940s until Imperial Japan invaded. A main transportation mode in Amsterdam alongside bikes is water taxis, which function much like buses in any other city, which is a great way to get to know the city. In conclusion, there are many ways to learn about how capitalism shaped Dutch society, which you can learn about by visiting Amsterdam. I hope you found this video interesting and would be interested to hear your comments. Yours truly, The History Pilgrim.